Yeah.
What's up, everyone? Truth in the Word and Havai Homestead here, bringing you another video tonight. We don't got a slideshow to present tonight. Just got some new verses. The Father spoke to me the other day, and so we just want to share. Let's see, I don't need a repeater, do you? There we go. All right, we just wanted to share with you guys, and I am not exactly prepared yet. I jumped the gun on getting started. It do be like that sometimes. Let me swap my stuff around. I got some verses on screen that I'm gonna add that we're gonna talk about. Buddy, I tell you, it is hot outside.
Yeah. It's
And
terrible.
we've been outside doing a little yard work.
And by yard work, he means wrestling goats.
Chasing the new goats around that's not bucket trained.
Or fence trained.
or electric fence trained. So been an interesting day, to say the least. And I think we're supposed to get like heat index of 111 this week.
Yeah. I ain't doing a lot.
Highly don't recommend this down south, deep south, humid living. Like if you guys don't live down south, you just don't understand. If you walk outside, it feels like you took a hot shower with your clothes on after 5 minutes. It's
well, yeah, like
it's ridiculous.
The humidity today was 75%.
But praise Yah for the new goats.
The new goats.
We are excited about them. Let me see if I can share my screen here. Not sporting my hat today. Y'all just gonna have to look at the gray. Makes me feel old when I look at it in the camera here.
You are old. You should.
Why are you hiding over there in the shadow?
So you can't see my gray. I'm not old. I'm only 25.
If I can find the right button to click. Share screen.
Good job, Chief.
Let's see. I want to share a window. I want to share this window. Let me get in the right spot, man. And share this window. Got to start at the front. Share it. Oh, there we are.
Look at you. You did it. Good job.
I hope that's readable. I guess we'll find out on
right.
Fools. Yeah, that's readable. There we go. Man, I didn't even know we could do that. You learn something new every day. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know we'd do that. All right, so what we want to talk about today is this verse right here, Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he is old, he turns not away from it. So many times, you know, in religion and, I mean, not even just, you know, religion, but just even in our own life as followers of the way, we can just gloss over things. And I know growing up in church all my life, you know, we've spit this verse out: train them up, train them up, train them up. And I know you have much experience, you know, hearing this growing up.
Yeah. Well, you know, that was kind of a cliche thing, isn't it? Like,
right.
I don't know why my kid did XYZ. I taught him right, but you know what? He'll find his way home. You know.
Right. So what we want to jump in is.
I mean, I found my way home, but
we want to look at this. If it do right, I tried to highlight this, but it wasn't working right. Train. The word we're looking at is train, right?
Yeah, you accidentally did it.
I accidentally did it. So I just got pulled up on my phone here. It's the Webster's. It ain't gonna work.
No.
So we read this and we think about this, but we don't actually contextually walk it out a lot of times. So this is a definition, the verb form of train as to teach so as to make fit, qualified, or proficient, to form by instruction, discipline, or drill, to make prepared for a test of skill, to direct the growth, usually by bending, pruning, and tying, to aim at an object or an objective. Right. So that's the word for train. And I guess where I'm heading with this, I was watching a sermon the other day, and it kind of talked about this a little bit, and then another brother on YouTube, what Papa Pepper, what was his other channel? Spiritual Food for Thought, and he put out a video about reading your kids the whole Bible, and it's not that we don't do Bible stuff.
Right.
Uh, we read our portions on Shabbat, and we do devotions, and we'll read something cool, and me and her are always bouncing something back and forth, or one of the kids will hear something and come sit on the couch and talk it out with us. It's not that we're not doing things, but
are we doing them in the right way?
But as far as reading the Bible all the way through cover to cover to your kids, he put the math on it, and he's like, if you do the 3 chapters a day, and it'll take you XYZ amount of time, and he said, and if you just go on that standard, for the life cycle of your kids, he's like, my kids XYZ, that means I can, read 2 more times to them before they get old, and so that, and this really got to stir in the pot in me, and which, like I said, now we do things now, but
Right.
before I did not. I was a back row Free Will Baptist, and I had a family church where 90% of the church was my family and blood family, and we went. I was raised in that doors pretty much every time the door was open, I was in it, and which nothing's wrong with that. But the thing is, we get caught up. We want to tell our children what to do. We want to tell them what to do, but we're not really looking at what we're training them to do. Right. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, that we can tell them all day long, but they learn by watching us. They learn by us, hands on instructing them. So I can sit here all day long and I can tell them, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But if I don't walk it out, I don't give them the reason, I don't fully explain it, then it's meaningless, empty words.
Or what we do.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right. I mean,
we raised screamy children because we were screamy people.
Right. And not to make excuses, same way with me growing up, and that's just, it's a natural response that's so fast and quick sometimes. It's just things that we do that we don't think about, and then things that we don't do because we're not thinking about. We think we're, living a good life,
right,
and doing the right thing. We would take our kids to church, and every time, that we could, and the door, pretty much we went, most times the door was open as well. But what I was training my children to do was to go home and forget all about it.
Right.
The things that our kids have seen us do before we turn our lives around, that's training. When you look at training, we read the definition. It's not just take them to church on Sunday and then go on about your life. Training is mindful preparation for a specific goal, and it takes work. I was in the army. We had lots of training. I beat my face quite a bit, and that was training for when I was in a fight. I would be tough and have stamina and know the limits of my body and where I could push it to. Uh, with my rifle, we trained to hit the center of the target. And how do we train? Well, two or three times a week we'd be out there on the range, putting time in. Right? It's training. It's not just telling, and I think that's where we dropped the ball quite a bit, and it's kind of where I wanted to head tonight. We want to look at training. What should we be doing with our children other than taking them to church on Sunday and going home and doing, you know, we go get drunk on Friday night and then go to church, Saturday night and then go to church Sunday morning. Well, that's not good training. We're telling them not to do these things, and then we're training them to do.
I feel like we need to give a disclaimer. We're not.
Oh,
we're
no,
not
no,
getting
no.
drunk.
Right? No. Friday at 6 is Shabbat, and
We're not getting drunk on Friday night.
Right. This is old school, right? And I'm not calling anybody out. I'm talking about myself because I myself, done things that I could have done way better, and we're trying now,
I mean,
and it's still a work in progress.
I was a trash human and
Right.
still not great.
Right. It's we come from the bottom of the pile, and we want to be better, and we want our kids to have things. I mean, and like, look at this. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, my mom, we lost my mom unexpectedly, suddenly. A little over a year ago, and I don't have no doubts in my mind. That she loved the Lord and lived and tried to obey. The things that she thought He said that we need to do. And I don't have no doubt in my mind that I'm going to see her again one day. But the way we were raised was we didn't read the Bible in our home, and as much as I can tell from the experience that I've had with people around us, that's not a common thing anymore.
Yeah,
did you know many people that would do that growing up?
Not really.
And that's just a simple thing. Just pick the book up and read it. We didn't do that. But she took me to church, and she, I made many trips from the pew down the aisle outside for some correction. She did not spare the rod, and bless her soul. But that's what we're saying. It's just
invading heathens.
We have things that we should do, and we should be mindful and active. So let's see what some scriptures say about training up our children. Well, we won't tell y'all anymore about how terrible we were.
No.
Well, I will when I do my testimonial video. You'll see what a ridiculously terrible person I was. Oh, that's the wrong screen. All right, you want to read this underlined section here?
So what, 7, 8, and 9?
Yeah, this is Deuteronomy. Where'd it go? It said Deuteronomy 4, 8, and 9.
And what great nation is there that has such laws and right rulings, like all this Torah which I set before you this day? Only guard yourself and guard your life diligently. Gosh, I can't say it without singing it. Lest you forget the words your eyes have seen, and lest they turn aside from your heart all the days of your life, and you shall make them known to your children and your grandchildren.
Right. So here, is a command from the Father, and we're we're supposed to be on guard, right? Like
Right.
that's not just be mindful. That's a strong word. And diligently, we're supposed to very carefully make sure we're doing things that we don't forget the words, the capital W words, his commands, and that we don't turn away from it. And we're supposed to make them known to your children and your grandchildren, uh, all of them. And so that's, kind of the idea of reading cover to cover is we have to tell them the words Father commands us.
Well, and I mean, every morning they're responsible for reading on their own, and then we discuss it and we go over it. But how much more if we can talk about it in the moment together
Right,
as we're reading through it instead of
right,
they get up and we do our routine and they have their
right. And
personal
what,
reading time
and the idea behind their personal reading time is that's us trying to train them
to get in the habit of
to get
doing
in the
it.
habit of doing it every day.
Right. I mean, they see me sit down, and the first thing I do in the morning after I piddle and do my outside or whatever I'm doing is I drink coffee and I read my Bible. And they see that, but I can't make them, just because they see me do it, they've got to get in that routine
Right,
on
right.
their own.
It's hard to start a new habit,
Right.
and so that's another aspect of training. But it says, "And you shall make them known to your children and your grandchildren." So that's kind of how I looked at that reading, and I thought about it. When they're grown and they read a verse, it'd be kind of nice if they thought when they
About
when they
Red.
when they read that verse, they hear my voice reading it to them.
Right.
So I still think about things that Mom told me like that. I can hear her voice and things, and of all the things that
The
they could
truth is not
probably
in you.
remember, yeah, the truth is not in you. So anyway, yeah. So I of all the things that I know that I may have said before that will remind them of me one day, I really hope I can read the Father's word to them enough that that's one of the most common ones, because there's some not good ones out there. But all right, we'll jump over here to the next verse. Why I keep going to that screen?
Because you don't know nothing.
All right, so we're going to be in Deuteronomy chapter 6 here, and my underline disappeared.
Well, I mean,
All
you
right,
just call Cache. He'll come in here
let's
and read it
see.
for you.
Let me read through here and find what I was trying to read. I should have just took the time to make the slides.
Right. I mean, here, 7, and you shall impress them upon your children and speak
There
of
we
them
go.
when you sit in your house.
All right, so we're gonna start. We're gonna start on verse 4 here. All right, and hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim, Yahweh is one, and you shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being, with all your might. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. So we're to impress these words on them, not tell them, what to do. We're to impress these commands, the words in this book, on them. And it even goes on, bind them as a sign on your hand and frontlets in your eyes. What we do and what we think is supposed to be about these commands. And when we walk by the way, when we're sitting in the house, when we're laying down, when we wake up, right? it's not just supposed to be
Right.
okay, we spent 10 minutes on a devotional today.
Well, what did Kaylin say? All we talk about is the Bible and ham radio.
Right, right. Right. So the wife and I are both ham radio operators,
Got it.
and so we do some radio stuff. And one day she said, all we do is talk about the Bible and ham radio. And I said, well, but praise the Father, right? And also write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. Uh, every time our kids walk in and out of the door or open the gate on the pasture, they see the Ten Commandments.
Hmm.
We have the little metal
plates.
The little metal plates. You can get them from Hallelujah Scriptures, is where we got ours. They got a little sticky back on them. They come in like they come in what, a 4 or 5 pack.
Right.
And they got paleo and regular Hebrew
right.
and
so they're
English and different
the
ones.
inside and outside of the door frame. They're under the carport. So like when you walk up under our carport, that first post you see, they're there, and then they're posted on our pasture gate too. And I have one in the pantry too, because a lot of people spend time in there. So.
Yeah. Right. So I mean, and I'm not, we're not holier than thou, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not. Don't misinterpret what we're saying here. We're just saying that this is serious. And I grew up in the church and fell way in the world, right? I felt at the age of 14, 15 that the Lord was calling me to preach.
And you're almost 40 before you decided to.
And I'm almost 40 here before I'm sitting in front of anyone saying anything about the Father. Well, almost 40.
You are. I'm saying you were almost 40 when you decided to listen.
Right. Yeah, almost 40 before I even decided to hear him. And it's still, this is not talking to people. It's not my thing. I want to go over here in the back corner and sit and be quiet and just do my thing.
But then you'll talk to anybody.
well, the Father has been working on me about talking. She's even gets mad at me when we go in the store. I'll be trying to talk to folks, strangers, whatever.
I'm trying to get in and get out, and he has to be like the little mammals who congregate in the middle of the aisles. And
so, like the song say, he's still working on me, and we're trying to let him get after it. If we can jump over here, we got some more Deuteronomy. The underline stayed there. This is 11. Deuteronomy 11:18. You want to read that?
And you shall lay up these words of mine in your heart and in your being, and shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall teach them to your children, speaking of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and shall write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates, so that your days and the days of your children are increased on the soil of which Yah swore to your fathers to give them, as the days of the heavens on the earth.
Right. So we got a second witness here. Like all day long, like we should be discussing this word. And we anytime personal things happen in life that we can relate to Bible and talk about the situation and
right.
what scriptures say about it, we will. And
two, how we handle the kids.
Right.
There are a whole set of instructions for raising your children.
Right.
Who would have knew?
All right. We're going to jump over here to Ephesians. Maybe. All right. So, Ephesians chapter 6. All right. And my underline disappeared. Oh, and this right here. And verse 4. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. And you, fathers, do not provoke your children, but bring them up in the instruction and admonition of the master. Right. And so this is one too And I do this. I have done this before, not even realize it, provoking a kid. And we can do it as a jest, even without even thinking
Right.
about it. Like we know, if Cash will get worked up over a certain issue, or
Right.
Lennon will get, worked up, or anything, any kid in particular, if we push them to that anger, that's bad parenting. Yes, I'm guilty. I'm pointing the finger here.
Yeah.
Just
Oh, I
listen,
mean,
right?
like, okay, so Cash is a great example. If you know Cash, you know Cash. You know how his brain works. So he has his allowance and he wants to buy a toy. So sensory overload happens. And then he struggles with decision making and performing tasks because his brain is just rolling, 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 rolling. He cannot, like, he's trying, he can't. And so what do? We're tired and we just want to get out of the Walmart and we say, Cash, you got to hurry up or you're not getting anything. Pick it out or go home. Well, that's self destruct right there. And then he said, I don't know why you're mad because this is who I am.
Right, right.
Like he
Out of the
corrected
mouth
us.
of babes,
Right.
And
then so of course we have to apologize because he's right.
right.
Why did we know
Right,
who
but
he is?
and the thing is that I know how he is, and I knew what the situation was, but I got impatient with him,
Right.
And so, and like the spirit jumped on me, and I had to repent and apologize because of the way I handled the situation, right? If I'm not saying that you got to let your kids get away with everything that they, like
No,
Bible
but
plainly teaches, bring that rod. You know what I mean? But that's not. It's not what we're saying. We're just saying that you shouldn't provoke your children intentionally to anger. And I just don't mean they're mad at you because you got on to them for misbehaving. Uh, what I'm talking about. It's just like picking at somebody in an area that is going to get them tuned up. A lot of times we'll do that with our kids in fun, and
then hurt feelings.
right,
We
and
have to.
we shouldn't be pushing our kids to that level,
Right.
because that's training them to do the same thing. Right.
Right.
I mean, I'll tell you, some of the maddest that I get at the kids
Is when they act just like us.
is when they do what I recognize is that they learn from me.
Yeah.
I guess I just get mad because it hurts my feelings,
right.
because I know where they got that from.
Right. And I wish. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that. It's what's done is done. But our children now are being raised by completely different parents.
Right. Right. So they they see the difference in us, I'm sure.
I mean, our children tolerate us, so yeah, they do.
And even since we started following the way and actually getting into the Father's Word
Right.
and trying to teach it to them, man, we've seen a huge turnaround, with them as well. Definitely highly recommend. Right, we're gonna go to some Colossians chapter 3, verse 21.
Fathers, do not provoke your children lest they become discouraged.
Right. And so, other than the angry aspect, like, we should be encouraging our children. A lot of times I focus, right? I'm not calling y'all out. I'm just me too, on the negative and the bad, and what they've done wrong. And we don't encourage them.
Right.
But we talk down to them versus encouraging them. And we shouldn't discourage them, clearly here.
Well, I'm not very good at being an encouraging person.
Neither am I.
And well, I'm not good at anything. I'm just like, it's not that I don't lack empathy. I struggle with sympathy. So, I don't know. Brain don't brain like that. So where I call myself correcting behavior and handling things, I don't realize how I hurt feelings because they feel like that's the bigger thing. Like everything else good that they do got overlooked by this
Right.
this
Right.
one thing. And I don't. And then I have, like I said, of course, I have to apologize. I have apologized more to my children probably in the last 3 years than I have their entire life because I am 36 years old and don't know how to handle emotions and feelings. How do I expect them to be small children and do the same thing?
Right. And part of it is, even with our relationship,
Right.
that's been an area we have struggled with, on occasion.
Right. Well, it's been
Once or twice, maybe.
Well, we've had to learn to communicate. That's something that is very important when we're trying to teach our children and train our children is to effectively communicate. Like I said, you can be mad at someone or your feelings hurt or be upset and still lovingly
We didn't have to talk
communicate.
about that one. She's calling me out without calling me out.
Lovingly communicate. No, it's not just you, it's me too. How many times have I been angry and instead of having a rational conversation, we
Yeah, I know. It's just that we had just talked about that today. So, but that's
Well,
right. It all boils down to, it's like Yeshua said. One of the main two is love others,
right.
and we want to teach our children this love, and this is where we find it in His Word. And I don't know about y'all, but like when I play football, if
I didn't play
if
football.
I just went to one or two practices here and there, and they threw me in the game, it's probably not going to go very well.
No.
It takes time and dedication and effort, but as human beings, we're lazy, and that flesh wants us to just do what we want to do and not focus on His words. All right, we got one more verse for you here. We're going to be in 2 Timothy chapter 3. Yeah. And we're on verse 14. But you stay in what you have learned and trusted, having known from whom you have learned, and that from a babe you have known the set apart scriptures, which are able to make you wise for deliverance through belief in Messiah Yeshua. All scripture is breathed out by Elohim and profitable for teaching, for reproof, for setting straight, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of Elohim might be fitted and equipped for every good work. All right, so we got to stay in His Word, right? Evil men and impostors go on the worst, leading astray and being led, right? If we want to be equipped, right, we're our gear fits right, we've got all the stuff we need, and we're ready to do the good work. We have to impart this to our children. Do we want our children to be prepared for this world? Do we want our children to know how to conduct themselves among others in a manner that exemplifies the Father and Yeshua? Do we want them to be set apart? Do we want them to be the light in the world? I mean, I don't think anybody that I know would want their children to,
Right.
go to hell, except, maybe my dad or something.
Daniel.
But no, I'm just kidding. Normally speaking, though, most people want the best for their children. And, when I grew up, what is the American dream, right? What is
Right.
you go to school, you get the best education that you can, you get the highest paying job that you can, so you can buy the most things that you can. That's what we train our children for in modern society.
Right.
That's not setting them up for success. No matter what kind of job or money or education they get, if you want to set your children up for success, they need to know these words.
Right. Well, and so
Oh, I
that's.
pointed my finger right this time.
Oh, look, you did it. Good job.
Those words.
Well, right. So before we got to where we are now, we relied on other people to spiritually feed our children.
Right. Right. You know, the
We-
class,
right.
the teacher or the preacher.
And but it was the same with us. We wanted to be fed. We didn't want to feed ourselves. We wanted to be fed.
Right.
So that's like a huge responsibility. If we're not spiritually feeding our children, someone else will. And
I don't know
how that falls on what they retain and how they, what they do with that. It's kind of a big deal.
Right. And it's just, I don't know if you've seen the religion and crap that goes on out in the world lately, but that's also when we homeschool our children.
Right.
You know, we pull them out. We know there's all those. Let me move this down here so I quit looking up there at my picture.
Well, that thing I shared something the other day that said that if we can't keep sending our kids to Rome and not expect them to be Romans.
Right, and but the biggest thing is like the father. Learning the Father out there ain't gonna happen. Mm-mm. It's just not.
No.
It has to happen right here in this home. If you do the math on the time that you got left with your kids, it's short. Like
right.
Our baby is about to turn 8. And just like, wow, man, it's flown by. Like before you know it, they're going to be out in that world. I know all the arguments about, pulling them out, or, well, they're going to have to learn how to deal in the world, or, they're going. You should be teaching them, to avoid these things, and right, I get all that, right? But the thing is, they're under my covering, and they're in training. Right. I wouldn't take my 8-year-old son, strap him up with gear, and put him on the front lines in a war, right? Because he's still training. He's still not fully prepared. Crap, how much do I stumble? Right? How much do I fail? I'm 40 years old. I've seen up, down, in, and out, and I still slip up. But you want to throw your kids out there with a pack of wolves and tell them, yep, I took them to church on Sunday, they can make it. No, brother. That's a recipe for failure.
Right. And look at everything that's going on now. Like look at the world events, and Jesus is coming back.
Yeah.
That's what I need my kids trained for.
Right.
I need them to be ready that when sky split open and the kingdom comes down, and they're like, okay, we know what's happening.
Well, I mean, even before that though,
right?
It's like we were telling them the other day, said, look, the problem is we see that Satan deceives the whole world. Right. Well, how does he do that? Right. And if they're going to bring false gospels, right? And what
she can't stay out
she
of
can't
it.
Do it. These false gospels, these false teachers, these false prophets, they're going to have signs and wonders. You think they're not going to deceive some of these people sitting in the church that don't crack open their Bible more than what the preacher says for the sermon? When they walk out there and they see somebody heal somebody and rise up and walk, or I don't know, maybe they're fire wizard and shooting fire or something. I don't know, man, but the Bible plainly says that they're going to be able to do signs and wonders. And how are they going to know that that's false if I'm not teaching them the truth?
What is it, Booger? Oh,
What do you
okay.
say about that?
I mean, yeah,
Right.
that's accurate because you can't spot a fake if you don't know the real
Right.
thing.
They're not going to be able to discern the truth of the matter if we're not teaching them. Now don't get me wrong. I know that they could come on their own and but do you want your kid to be 40 years old before they figure out the truth and then try to work it all out? No. I want her to know the truth right now.
Thanks.
And so that's it. Raising these hood rats is a serious commitment. And it's not something that we should take lightly. I've taken it lightly. We got to do better. We got to be diligent in teaching them the word. But just side note, from here, that's all we got for today. I just want to show y'all what I've been doing. I got me a new clean Bible, and I made for myself a little color guide for topics. And so what I've been doing is I'm going to take my clean Bible. Let me find where I got doing it. And then I use my color guide and go through. Focus. How cool is that, right? See, I messed up already right there. I had to go back and fix it.
Well, we don't have nice things.
Sometimes I won't be paying attention to what I'm doing, and I'll get excited in a hurry.
Doesn't that happen?
So that's
roasted.
That's what. Get out of here. That's what we're doing now. I thought it was a pretty cool project.
And we got notebooks that we're gonna start.
And we're gonna do a
start Bible map.
We're gonna start doing a Bible book map. So we got one of those for everyone, and so we're gonna start at Genesis, and we're gonna kind of go through, and it's just basically you're gonna build a chart with the chapters, and
making the camera focus on you.
Move. You gotta move.
You gotta move.
You're jacking.
Just be still.
And so we're going to take the little journal.
Go back and cut half.
And we're going to go chapter. I don't edit my videos. That's why she needs to move. Go over there. Over there.
Just you gotta stop moving.
And so we're going to take our little journals and as we go through, we'll have a.
We haven't gotten started yet.
So we'll have a Genesis, and it'll be like a little chart. And it'll have, the who's, the what's, the when's, the where's, important themes, and then what chapters. This will be chapters, and then so you can go put you a mark or a symbol or a little girly sticker or, whatever floats your boat in there. And so basically it'll be like a Cliff Notes. You'll be able to flip through here and be like, okay, well, in this book, there's this theme and these people and these places, just all at a glance. I seen a video on YouTube. What was her channel?
I don't remember, but
Faith.
I have no idea.
Faith was somebody Faith in it. I don't remember. I have to look it up later. But that's a pretty neat deal. That's just kind of what we got going on here. Just another tip too. Like if you're looking. Welcome. From the wife. I'm not claiming credit for it. Sure, she found it somewhere else.
No, I didn't. I went to the Dollar General and I didn't want to pay $7 for one highlighter.
No, I'm telling you, man, these Crayola twistables, they're excellent highlighters. They don't bleed through, and they're really great. So that's what I've been using for my highlighting, and so. That's other than raising animals and trying to figure out, how to get our our new land that we got up in the mountains ready to go for our homestead and our move. It's hot
It's
and
very hot.
lots of outside work. So stay hydrated, stay diligent in the word, focus on training your children, not telling your children. Read God's word to them, and that's what I got today. You got anything you want to add?
No, that's it.
All right. Well,
Parenting is
Parent-
not for the weak.
parenting's hard. Marriage is hard.
But it's
You
so
know,
rewarding.
but it's rewarding, and when you got your focus on the Father where it should be, and like I said, that's like we've been married twice, right?
Right. Well, I mean,
once we did it all wrong, and the Father wasn't the center.
we're not gonna talk about it.
So
But well, I mean, it's children.
to each other,
Yes, to each other. We've been married twice. My children are a blessing, and I carry a lot of, I guess, guilt sometimes that I didn't always treat them as a blessing. And now, and that it wasn't them. That's my own personal issues. That was me. It wasn't my children. It was being a flawed person. But they drive me bananas some days. But I can't imagine doing anything else other than raising them to further the kingdom and to teach them, train them so they can go and do the same with their children.
right? And so, like I said, just stay on your knees, stay in the Word. We're here. You know, if anybody wants to talk about anything, feel free to hit us up. Like, share. YouTube don't like this type of stuff, so my videos just, which of course, it ain't not like we have this magnificent channel or anything,
right.
but I'm just a dude. I'm just a guy, and I want to tell you about the Father. I want to tell you about His Word. I want to share with you where I'm at and what we're doing. So if like, share, subscribe. Also go check out our other channel. It's kind of where we put our homestead stuff.
Yeah,
homestead.
We have some videos that someone hasn't sent me, so I can.
Yes, I mean the plants are. We did a garden walkthrough.
Right.
Now the plants are like 20 times taller than it was, so we just got busy, and I had to edit it, and I don't like editing.
We even have a whole video of walking through on our Ozark land,
right?
That we still.
So we're trying to get better at that as well. So just
went into the desert again, wandering.
Like, share, subscribe to both channels. I'll try to put a link there. And we'd appreciate your support. And like I said, just let us know if there's any ideas on anything you want to talk about. And if
you are interested in more chaos homestead business,
yeah.
There you can follow me on Instagram too. There's a lot of chaos there. Not just may not be on the YouTube yet, but it's definitely there on the Instagram.
And all right, so as for that, it's about bedtime here, and so we'll catch you guys later. And we just want to say we love you, and we hope the Father blesses you, and shalom.